Interviewing. Common interview questions. In this webinar, we look at some typical interview questions and how you might effectively respond to them. These questions are different from behavioral interview questions, which are addressed in a separate webinar, but the idea that you should emphasize your accomplishments instead of simply describing what you have done applies to all types of interview questions. Moreover, as discussed in the introductory interviewing webinar, prior to any interview, you must do research to determine the organization's needs and how the role you are seeking relates to those needs. You should then identify which of your strengths, skills, and accomplishments can be used to demonstrate that you're the most qualified person to meet those needs. This preparation will help determine and support what you say in response to the various interview questions. Tell me about yourself. You are almost always guaranteed an interviewer will start by asking you, "Tell me about yourself." If you have viewed and applied the webinars which discuss creating a profile for your resume and developing your 30-second verbal profile, you will have already started to craft a response to this question. If you have not watched those webinars, you should do so now. They provide examples that will give you an idea of how to begin describing yourself. When responding to the question, do not provide your complete employment or educational history, and avoid discussing your personal life. Instead, provide a concise and compelling response which indicates why you are the right fit for the job. How to tell them about yourself. First, set out who you are professionally, your combined years of experience, and the industries that you have worked in. For example, an IT professional with 10 years of programming experience in the financial and manufacturing sectors. Deliver a very concise overview of your career history, listing the companies and your roles. Skim over or ignore earlier dated roles or ones that have little relevance to the role you are seeking. In the process, provide at least one illustration of a particular quantitative or qualitative accomplishment. For example, you increased sales by 15% or instituted a quality control procedure. Describe a couple of your strengths that are relevant to the job you are applying for. Highlight a concrete accomplishment as it relates to at least one of your strengths. Keep in mind that you may be asked about your strengths in a separate question, so keep it very brief. Conclude with a positive statement about the value that you can bring to the company based on your expertise. Be specific about what is unique about you and your experience in relation to what the company needs from the person they hire, such as how you successfully have met similar challenges facing the company. Your entire response should not exceed 2 or 3 minutes. You want to provide a very high-level overview of who you are in a manner that is targeted to what the potential employer is seeking, while engaging the interviewer in wanting to learn more about you. What are your weaknesses? When thinking about a weakness, find something about yourself that you can improve upon. It does not have to be and should not be something at which you have no ability. It should also not be something that is a core requirement for the job you are seeking. Pick something that is reasonably defined and controllable and does not open the door to other questions about your abilities. Name the weakness and explain it. Then describe concretely what you are doing about it. You want to put a positive spin on the response by demonstrating that you are self-aware, proactive, and continually developing and refining your skill set. Have at least 2 weaknesses ready to present in case you are asked for more than one. Avoid weaknesses that are based on you working too hard or being a perfectionist. Sample weakness responses. Weaknesses relating to computer skills can be fairly manageable. For example, I have worked at Company X for 5 years and know their proprietary computer systems inside out, but I have never been required to use PowerPoint. Since I know that making presentations to internal and external clients is likely to be required at some point in my present and future jobs, I have signed up for an online PowerPoint training course that I am completing on weekends. But non-technical skills can also allow for a relatively manageable weakness. For example, I have made 1 or 2 presentations to small groups of colleagues at my current job, but I get very nervous when speaking publicly to larger groups. So I decided to join Toastmasters and have given a few speeches and received feedback from fellow members. I also joined a networking group which helps people who want to practice public speaking. This experience has assisted me in volunteering to lead some larger meetings at work. What are your strengths? You start by naming and defining a few strengths that are related to your occupation and role. Consider personality-based skills like adaptability. Think about soft and transferable skills like communication, problem solving, client relationships, team building, and negotiation. What about your talents based on education and experience, such as computer programming, selling products or services, and training? Do you have specific experience with certain procedures or software? Have you worked successfully with similar products or clients? Make sure you relate your strengths back to the needs of the role. After describing your strength, show how you have applied it to accomplish something. For example, my strength is problem solving, by which I mean that I approach every problem without preconception and by looking at it from every angle. After identifying a number of potential solutions, I will carefully weigh the pros and cons of each and decide upon the best one to achieve the company's goals. Then provide a concrete illustration of where you demonstrated the strength to achieve a result. For example, at my previous organization, every department was asked to find a way of increasing our workflow without decreasing the quality of our work. I was tasked with analyzing what my department was doing and finding ways that we could work more efficiently with other departments. By streamlining our process, I was able to find a way to surpass our previous deadline by 1 day without reducing our service standards. What are your salary expectations? Be prepared to answer this question directly. If you try dodging the question, the interviewer will probably keep pushing and may question your confidence. Try to get an idea of the salary range for someone in your position by doing research through networking and using online and other resources. Even if the salary range has been set out in the job posting and you find it acceptable, you may still need to indicate where in the range you believe that you should be placed based on your experience, education, and skills. However, you should demonstrate some flexibility in order to indicate a true interest in the job and openness to negotiate. You might suggest a range of $5,000 to $10,000. Other factors should be taken into account in terms of total compensation, including health and other benefits, vacation, pensions, bonuses, commissions, stock options, profit sharing, and training. What makes you different from other candidates? This question may seem impossible to answer because you likely do not know the other candidates, but you cannot avoid answering it if asked. Your responses to various questions, including "Tell me about yourself," should already be indicating to the interviewer what sets you apart from others or how you are unique. You want to be very specific about what added value you bring to the company based on your research into the company's business goals and how the role you are seeking contributes to those goals. You also have an opportunity to emphasize your fit for the position and the company. Ask yourself these kinds of questions. What is it about your background that is distinct from others in the field? Does it give you a perspective that has allowed you to develop a creative approach to solving problems? Can you provide an example of a solution that you developed which led to a positive qualitative or quantitative result relevant to the potential employer? How does your education and/or experience give you a notable advantage over others to address certain tasks or challenges related to the job in question? Can you back it up with concrete evidence from your previous experience? Is there something about your personality or soft skill set, such as communication or networking, which is critical to the employer's needs? How did you use that personality attribute or skill to accomplish a critical goal in the past? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Consider where the job you are seeking could take you in terms of your career goals and provide an answer that is specific to those goals. You want to get across that you have realistic career expectations and some ambition or motivation. You also want to indicate specifically how the position fits into your professional development. If the position is not perfectly aligned with your ultimate goals, then try to indicate how the experience will still play a substantial part in getting there. Importantly, assuming that the company offers opportunities for career development and progression, you should phrase your answer in a manner that demonstrates where you see yourself in the company in 5 years. Show some excitement about the role and the company and how you see them contributing realistically to your long-term career progression. In the process, you will be showing that you are likely to stick around and that they will not be wasting their time hiring you. Here is an illustration of where you see yourself in 5 years, which should be made more specific depending on your particular field and role. At this point in time, my goal is to find a position where I can grow and take on new challenges. In the years to come, I would like to assume more management responsibilities and get involved in larger projects with more of a strategic direction. The role I've applied for will allow me to begin contributing to your company while kickstarting the learning process necessary to achieve my longer-term goals. I see your organization as one where I can build a career. Why should we hire you? This question should be used to sum up why you are an excellent fit for the job. Look at your responses to the various other questions and highlight the qualities and accomplishments which best meet the employer's central needs. More than just showing that you can do the job from a technical perspective, you want to demonstrate that you will deliver concrete results, fit in with the team and culture, and are more likely to be successful than any other candidates. Provide some detail and evidence as to how you will do the job at a high level, solve problems, and meet any challenges. Here's an example of why they should hire you. From the job posting, my research, and our conversation today, I think that the job requires someone like myself who can come in and take charge from day one. You are experiencing some problems with client relations and retention. My prior positions with two different retail enterprises required me to deal with just those issues. I went into those positions with focused energy, sized up the problems quickly, and implemented technical and staff-related solutions that directly address the customer relations and retention problems. Within 6 months, retention began to improve. Within the first year, retention was up by 25 to 30%, with continuing improvements in the following years. My colleagues would tell you that I have a positive attitude which inspires all team members to buy into innovative approaches that lead to improved results no matter how challenging the conditions. Why did you leave your last position? This is a question that may cause some concern for job candidates. With the right attitude and approach, which will vary according to the circumstances of leaving the last position, one can effectively address the question. For detailed assistance on how to address this important question, see the webinar titled Preparing Your Leaving Story. Next steps. Practice your answers with family, friends, and professional networking contacts. Also record or videotape yourself and get some feedback from others. Fine-tune your answers by debriefing yourself after each interview. Your aim is to sound authentic and convincing and not mechanical or overly rehearsed.